Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped. Oh, hold on a minute. That's better. Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped, and welcome to a pretty cold and wet Silverstone International. It's race weekend. Yes, yesterday I had a full test day with the Caterham Graduates Racing Club, but today it gets serious. In about an hour's time we have qualifying, and then tomorrow we now have 3 races. I'm starting to get just a little bit nervous. Time to get into Spider-Man.
It's time for qualifying, so I'm in the pits. We're going to go to an assembly area. We've got 20 minutes. It has dried up, so we've actually put the thermo anti-roll bars back on the car. So that's the setup I was using for much of my test day, and hopefully it's just dried up enough. But I am quite nervous. I really am quite nervous. The other thing that's different between the test day and today is I've got these arm restraints. So basically, just in case you stop your hands going outside of the cabin. But yeah, wish me luck, people, wish me luck. This was not in the plan, it's raining. That's just added to my nerves now, I have to say. Great.
So let me talk you through qualifying. So we're just leaving the assembly area here. I am pretty nervous. Conditions are reasonably slippy. It just had a little rain before we came out, but you come out onto the end of the pit lane and accelerate up onto the circuit, visor down. Let's do this. I'm going to talk you through my fastest lap. I had some telemetry on board the car, which should prove useful. So we join me on the main straight going past the wing pits, flat in 4th gear, approaching first corner, which is Abbey. Slight lift, turn in, make sure you hit the apex, straight back on the power, staying in 4th. Full power, trust the car going through farm, and just drift out and then down on the brakes, down into 3rd, turn in, must hit the apex here, straight back on the power, staying in 3rd, keeping on the power around this left-hander. Now this is going through the little link piece to join back up with the full GP circuit at the end of the hanger straight. We're now onto the hanger straight, so I'm going to change up into 4th gear. The big challenge here is aerodynamics and wind resistance. Now we're going to grab 5th gear. We'll see a car come past here, and I just get the benefit of a little toe, not too much, but if you can get a toe down the main straight. We're now coming into the famous stow. So again, just back down into 4th, slight touch of brakes. Really important to just turn the car in and just be patient coming round here. We come round, down into the club, little left and right hander, down into 3rd gear, very slippy through here, hit the apex. You need to be on the power, but the back end's just wanting to break away a little bit, and then hard and then a short shift, grab up into 4th, and then onto the main straight, and that is my fastest lap.
So, Mr. Petrol Ped.
I didn't come last.
Hurrah!
I don't think anyway.
That's good. Do you know what your time was yet?
I got a 1:19 something.
That's very good. 1:15 I saw on the board was the quickest in qualifying,
but
that's the Sigma class.
Yeah, I think I'm 15th out of 18, I think.
Not last.
I'll take every time. Right, now the fun bit is getting out of the Caterham with a roll cage on it.
You need a hoist.
I know, yeah.
Because you was getting quicker after about 3 or 4 laps. I think the car behind was starting to, you was pulling away from him on that.
It dried up. The thing is, you need to get a gap. The classics, we're going to get past them, and then if you can get a gap, but you you actually want somebody in front so you can draft them.
Yes.
But for me, if I've got somebody in front, especially in Abbey, I'm concentrating on them, not on me. So I need to really be on my own.
Yeah.
But you need someone in front to draft them.
Draft you along. Yeah, cool. Very good.
I'm really chuffed for that. I didn't come last.
That's good.
That was intense, absolutely brilliant fun. But I am super chuffed. So I did a 1:19.8. Now, when I was testing yesterday, I did a 1:20.8, but only did that once. I've never got anywhere near it. So I'm really chuffed with that because it was a pretty damp, greasy circuit. And that means I am 15th in class. There's 18 cars in my class. There's like 40 odd cars overall, and I'm like, because the classics are the slower class than mine, so I'm still really chuffed. 15th in class. I'm not last. That's the most important thing. But tomorrow we are going to hopefully have some sunshine, and it's not going to be wet and horrible. And we've got 3 races tomorrow, so I'm really looking forward to that. But for now, I'm going to draw this video to a close. I'm going to go and have a beer now, a nice cold beer. The cool thing about PT Motorsport is in the hospitality area in there, they have a fridge, and once the motor racing is done and the cars are being put to bed, we can have a cold beer. So I'm going to have a beer, and I shall see you in the morning. Well, good morning guys. It is a beautiful sunny day here at Silverstone for a day of racing. Today I'm going to take you behind my race day. I've got 3 races today. In fact, the first race is in about 45 minutes time.
Right, here we go, race number 1.
For me, nothing beats the excitement you feel at the start of a race. Now, each race is 20 minutes. I'm going to talk you through my kind of highlights, if you like, that I've put together of race 1. There's quite a lot of wind noise in the cabin, so apologies for that. But first of all, we're coming down into Abbey. And for me, it's very greasy. It's my first race. I just want to make sure I get through safely. I'm keeping an eye on all the cars around me, making sure I don't make any mistakes. It's quite a fast corner, easy to make a mistake. Should never back out of a corner mid-corner. I actually did that in practice on Friday and had a very big off at Abbey, so I'm very mindful of that. So just really wanting to make sure. Now, the 2 cars in front are the slower classic cars, and they have very different characteristics in the corners, so you just need to be aware of those. I'm kind of really just finding my feet in these opening laps. Now we kind of move on a little bit later in the race. I'm getting a little bit more confident, and actually we start coming up behind one of my kind of, if you like, my nemesis of the race. I had a fantastic duel with 2 cars through the race. But again, you can just see there how slippy it is, lots of opposite lock just to keep the car on track. You can see the surface of the road is wet. Now here's this yellow Caterham 77. I had some fantastic dueling with him, slightly better hanger straight, so we're turning there into Stowe. And again with this one, it's just a case of you turn in quite quick, and you just have to turn the angle on the steering wheel and just hold it there and try not to put too much aggressive moves through the steering wheel down into the 2 little left and right hander at club. Very slippy. I'm just watching the cars in front, trying to see their lines, see where they're fast, see where they're potentially vulnerable to overtakes. Again, now coming into the straight, I'm just going to grab 4th. Now you come down this straight into Abbey, and Abbey's a really fast corner. Now we just jump forward again back at end of that hanger straight, coming up behind the little silver car that I had so many dices with. And you find that sometimes you'll come out of a corner with a better exit speed, and you'll have that little bit of an advantage. Here I'm looking at the cars in front, I'm braking wide. I see the car on the outside has over-braked himself, and I actually do both cars coming through that complex, and then just way a bit of opposite lock, just maybe a little bit excited. Now going through Abbey again, turn in, it's super easy to lift or brake. When you're doing, I don't know, 80-90 miles an hour, that's only going to end one way, and that's in the kitty litter. Again, I've got a little classic, is a bit slower in front of me, so I'm just holding back, seeing what happens. The yellow car goes tighter on the inside, and I just pop in between the 2 of them. Really pleased with that manoeuvre. Now you can see I'm getting drafted down the main straight. It's going to pull into the inside going through Stowe, but I'm going to stay wide and just see if he over brakes himself, and I might be able to cut back inside, do a little bit of a switcheroo if I have a better line through the corner. And there you go, that's exactly what happened. He just kind of went in a little bit too hot, and then we come down into the little left-right at club. You can actually see him still on the inside there, but again, if I can just get a better line, maybe I can exit the corner better, and that's exactly what happened, just overcooked it slightly. You really do need to kind of get good at drafting down these longer straights. So now we're coming down into Abbey. I'm just really very conscious of driving my own car here. You kind of lift and turn in at 100 miles an hour and you can very easily get it wrong. A little bit of opposite lock going through there. But I'm just, each lap you kind of look at where the car in front is slower than you and look at where you could possibly pass. So I'll find a wider line here. Maybe I can cut back on the inside. And there you go, I've managed a nice safe manoeuvre. Again, coming into club, I've got two cars in front of me, mindful of the fact that I could potentially have the opportunity to take the yellow car. I've been tracking him for a couple of laps, working out where I could potentially go through quicker. I thought I had an advantage through Abbey, so we're coming up here. I'm just going to lift, turn in, and then just hopefully get a better line, better speed. Very tempting to lift or put a bit of brake there, which is the last thing I should do, and actually I carry enough speed to go round the outside around Farm curve and then out brake down into Village. We're now coming to the end of the race. I didn't actually realise it at the time, but I really did think I could get the yellow car in front of me. I had a better line through here. Had I known this was the last lap, I think I should have probably just gone up the inside here, but I just held back thinking I'd get him at the next time we went round Abbey, and unfortunately that was the last lap.
Yes, I'm ready. How did I get on?
I think you came 11th overall in class.
What?
Yeah.
Oh mate, I love that.
Yeah, it's epic, mate. Epic.
I had some mega dices.
Oh, I was watching on the live screen.
That was wicked.
Hi, I'm Martin O'Wara. I'm the interim club chairman of the Caterham Graduates Racing Club, and it's great to have Peter here talking about the club and what makes it so special for all of us involved. Caterham Graduates has been going since 2000. It's an alternative for drivers to race Caterhams who don't want to race in Caterham Motorsport or some of the other series. Next year we'll run 3 different types of car. We'll have the Sigmax, which is the old Caterham Supersport, and we'll have the 2 modern alternatives, which is the we call it 150, which is the Caterham 310R, and our 135 class, which is the Caterham 270. So different types of cars. Performance isn't a million miles away in terms of the different classes. Sometimes a mixed grid. We hope to have 2 grids in the future, and it's a very friendly club. It's very fun. The racing is very serious. Don't get me wrong. There's some pretty hard, fast racing out there. But we like to think that it's for people that want to come racing, have fun, race hard, but with a focus on being safe and sensible. And one of the sort of USPs the club's got is it's got an internal driving standards team, which is a bunch of drivers, 4 or 5, who are there to talk to drivers informally or sometimes formally about how they're driving. We tend to investigate when there's been unnecessary contact or when there's been some moves which are classed as, you know, a little bit iffy. And we try and do as much of it in an informal environment around the paddock. But it's what keeps a lot of members here for a long time. They feel they can trust other drivers, and the expectation levels of drivers in terms of what's fair, what's not fair. Our objective is to make sure there's no difference in expectations. So race hard, race fair, but race safely.
So it's the afternoon, race 1 has been done. I've had some lunch and I've kind of had time to think and reflect. super happy with my performance in race 1, made up some places, had some really great dicing and dueling with the cars around me, and it was magical to be racing around Silverstone International. But the quality of driving, the standards of driving that all of these guys sign up to just mean that you can have confidence in everybody around you. And for me, that's what I love most about the time I've spent with the Caterham Grads here, is the driving standards is so important. At the end of the day, they all want to be able to take their car home at the end of the weekend with no damage as much as possible. Okay, you know, motor racing is a dangerous sport. Things happen, accidents happen, but you don't get the feeling someone's going to send one up the inside and do something stupid. But we're just about to get ready for race 2. The conditions are very different. It was very slippy in race 1. I didn't expect it to be. The outlap, it was like, wow, the conditions were so slippy, but it's bone dry now, so we should have a very different type of race. So yeah, let's bring it on. I'm going to get in the car in about 15 minutes. Race 2. Let's do this. So let me talk you around some highlights of race 2. So here we're going into turn 1. My big thought here is the surface is much drier, grip levels will be higher, speeds will be higher, and I need to make sure that I don't do anything silly. I have a tendency to kind of overdrive the car the more confident I get. But this is very much a case of, on the first lap, just getting round, not doing anything silly, avoiding any trouble, and again just finding my natural place on the circuit. I'm a little bit wide there, I get swamped offline, I get duffed up by a classic going around the outside. As soon as I get onto the straight, the natural speed of the 135 helps me get past the classic. Next up, just keep an eye on the orange car in front. It kind of goes wide, runs off the circuit, and I can see that in my peripheral vision. I was just worried he was going to basically come back on the circuit and collect me. A little bit of a hair-raising moment for him, I'm sure. Now, I'm back up against my old friend in the silver Caterham, and I've been following this car for a couple of laps, and again, just trying to work out where I thought I had an advantage, where I thought I could potentially overtake. And I started to realise that this corner breaking down here, I reckon I could get a better line out of Abbey, so I kind of worked on that over a couple of laps. So now, although we've got the yellow car there, the silver car's in front. I'm coming down through Abbey, and I'm going to execute my plan. I get a much faster line through Abbey. I've got good closing speed. Come round farm curve, pull wide, and I'm now going to brake late, turn in. What I didn't expect was a stationary car right in my way, and I can tell you my heart skipped a beat there. Absolutely terrifying moment. Well, that was interesting. So race 2 was actually red flagged in the end. There were so many bits of cars scattered all over the circuit, but I had a really very close moment, and it's not till I've got back and checked the footage I realised just how close it was. You know, I went down the inside of a car, and there was basically a stationary car looking straight at me, and I don't know how I missed it. But the difference in that race, because the track was so dry, grip levels were higher, speeds were much higher. Yeah, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that a lot. But I think for me a bit more challenging the first race, because it was so much faster and you're taking so much more speed through the corners. But yeah, brilliant. Well, anyway, one more race left. The sun is shining. It's an absolutely beautiful day as well. Didn't expect this, so I got best improver for race 1 in my class. My first bit of motorsport trophy. I'm dead proud of that. Now then, we've still got race 3 left. Now then, if you guys want to come racing, we've already mentioned that there are 3 categories of racing. There's the 135 that I was driving, the 150s and the Sigmaxes. But just to give you an idea of cost, a car like this you could probably pick up depending on condition and so on, for somewhere in the region of about £16,000 to £18,000. And the really good thing is you could probably do a few seasons of racing with that and then sell it for not a dissimilar amount of money. So you need the outlay of buying the car, and then the cost of running the car, you've got a few options. You can do what I did and have my race mechanic over there, Lawrence, to look after the car for you with someone like PT Motorsport. And that's the most expensive thing to do, I guess. And if you think about that, the cost of that, the consumables, tyres, fuel, and so on, you're probably looking at somewhere in the region of about £2,000 for a race weekend if you do some testing as well. All of these are depending on how much testing and track time you do. Or you could do the other end of the scale and look after the car yourself. Some of the guys here trailer the car themselves, do all the mechanicking, all the spanner work themselves. And with race fees and consumables like fuel, you're probably looking at somewhere in the region of about £700 to maybe £800 for a race weekend. So it's about as kind of, there's no such thing as budget motorsport. If anyone ever talks about budget motorsport, what they're talking about is you're looking at somewhere between £800 to £2,000 for a race weekend, plus an amazing car like this. But highly recommended.
Now, race 3 was the unexpected bonus of the weekend. I really didn't expect 3 races, but I must say I think I messed it up on the first corner really. So I was in about the same kind of position, but I totally outbraked myself, went wide. I had a couple of classics come past me there, and then it took me a while to be able to get past them, and by the time I had, all the other 135s were basically up the road, and I found it very, very difficult to catch up with them. And what that basically meant was I had a race where I was on my own for much of it and chasing lap times rather than having any nice dicing with people. So although I enjoyed it greatly, it didn't really make for great YouTube content. 2 things that were fun, however, if you just look in my rear view mirror at that car totally outbraking himself, that gave me a bit of a fright. He came back on just fine, was much quicker than me and overtook me very shortly. And then I got banzaied by the 3 leading cars, and the speed and pace that they came past was just, to have that as a kind of front row seat was so spectacular, and really showed me just how much better the guys at the front are. It was quite a way to end the race actually.
Let's get out of this race gear.
Good stuff, mate. Well done.
I might draw this video to a close right there. Actually.
There you go.
So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I need to say some huge thank yous. So massive thank you to everyone at the Caterham Graduates Racing Club for the invite to come along this weekend and take part in a very, very special community of enthusiasts, and I've been made to feel very, very welcome, and I've enjoyed every second. It's been fantastic. A big thank you actually to this man, this is Ian, who runs PT Motorsport, who provided the car. A massive thank you to Lawrence, my engineer, who set the car up. He was absolutely phenomenal. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. Now, if you want to come Caterham racing, this is the format. This is what you need to do, because it's next level. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that one. If you have done so, please give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol. Plenty more content to come, and I'll see you on the next film. But I'm back home for tea and medals. In fact, I have a medal to take home with me. I'll see you on the next film, guys. You take care. Drive safe.